Welcome. Thank you for having me. My name is Michel Roux Joe. I'm the Executive Director of Rhode Island Jobs with Justice, and we are mixed in favor of some bills and others. I'll just kind of speak to the minimum wage bills in general. One of the things, George Nee of the AFL spoke a lot about the statistics about what it means to have minimum wage, and I know Doug Hall from EPI is probably able to offer much more insight about specifics about what increasing a minimum wage means. One of the things that we never think about, though, when we hear minimum wage is what the actual cost of living in Rhode Island is. We think of the minimum wage as sort of a neutral tool, and we don't think of it as a part of a mosaic of care that we have to live. In Rhode Island, if you eat food, like we all do, and you have a family, it costs on average $146 a week to feed them. And that's if you're stingy. That's if you're following all of the budget, all of the coupons, and you're being really dutiful about that. It's still $146 a week. That's almost $8,000 a year in food, right? If you look at what childcare costs per year, it's almost $14,000 in this state. I mean, that is a huge amount of money. It's surpassing rent right now, or it's on the cusp of rent. $14,000 a year. So now you've already spent $7,000 on food, and now you have, what? Rent that equals that nearly. So you're at $28,000 right off the bat. Then you have transportation, which usually averages around $5,000 a year. Then you have medical care, which is usually $6,100, and then incidental expenses, which usually equate around $6,000 a year. Now, I'm not doing the math in my head, but when you add it up, you're looking at what would be needed for a family to survive on a minimum wage salary of an income of $50,000, $869. Right now, the minimum wage, I'm not sure what it adds up to per year. I think it's 24, something like that. It's a pretty small amount. It's not a survivable wage, and it was designed to be a living wage when it was first implemented. FDR was very, very explicit in the use of the wage, that it wasn't a training wage, that it wasn't a child's wage, that it wasn't a billed wage, it wasn't an apprentice wage, but a living wage. And he also had something to say to people who paid the minimum wage, that you should be striving to do more, and I think most people probably do think that they should do more. But if we're having an economy and a survival rate that is dependent on businesses undercutting each other to figure out a way to extract more money from workers through productivity and through undercutting their pay, we're looking at a downward spiral for working people. Businesses have roofs to cover, they have carpets to clean, they have food to get themselves, but so do the more than 16,000 Rhode Island workers that do that. I'm sorry, 77,000 Rhode Island workers that are affected by the minimum wage. It's a moral choice as much as it is an economic one. The numbers are very, very clear, and it's not hard to come up with a statistic that says we need to do it. It costs too much to raise a family here. The arguments of business are solid in that, yeah, this does affect them. It does add a cost, as it should. You're not supplying a service. You're employing people, human beings that eat, raise families, care for children, care for your old folks. They're worth living, and that means paying them what they're worth, a living wage, and being meaningful about that. The governor's proposed increase is very, very important, as is the other increases that would take place on July 1st, and those are very, very important. But at the same time, I think we really meaningfully have to keep our eye on that larger increase to a minimum wage, which Senator Culkin, with all due respect, $15 an hour is a good start, but the actual number is much closer to 18. And we should be honest about that. Like, either we expect people to do something other than survive or other than eat, or we expect them to leave the state. And right now, we are losing people in the state. It's too expensive to live here. Wages aren't high enough. Cost of services are too much. Basic care isn't delivered, and we keep hammering people with fees and et cetera, to the point where it's a devil's bargain. If you are looking to maintain profitability by extracting wealth from the wages of other workers, then you're a farmer that's stripping the topsoil to make a little extra money. It doesn't work. It's not a sustainable thing. We need to be able to look at an economy that is more than quarterly or yearly and start to plan on a much longer-term increase in wages. Senator Golden's elimination bill for the tip minimum wage is part of that. This is something that looks at sustainability over years, that builds and lifts up workers who are the backbone of our society. Not something that is a one-time fix, but a long-term structural change, which is the thing that we need. To get rid of second-tier structures is vital. We can't afford that. We've tried it. They don't work. One of the quotes I was given today was that the owners of businesses support the employees, when really it's the other way around. When I come to a restaurant, I'm coming to a restaurant to talk to the server, to eat the food that the chef produces. When I go to a childcare facility, it's not the owner of the facility that I'm seeing, but it's the caretaker of my children. When I go to a nursing home, it's the CNA that I care about most, after my father. Those people are what produce our economy. They are the backbone of the actual economy. They spend the money, they eat the food, they fill the houses, they fill our schools, they take care of us. To assign them wages that is less than livable is to say how you actually value them, that they don't have a right to life in this state. It's an easy ethical argument to make that human beings deserve to eat and live and be housed in a way that befits the dignity of each human being. That's why I'm here with Rhode Island Jobs with Justice in strong support of the increases of the minimum wage increases, and strongly against bills that would reduce the wage for young workers and create a second tier, a child's wage, or a Jim Crow wage, and that's not something that we can tolerate in this state. That's why I urge passage of all the minimum wage bills. Thank you.